Hey, it's John Williams coming to you from my home office here in Henderson, Nevada. I'm so glad you're tuning into this very special video. You know, I was having a conversation with Lesley Valentine the other day. She's an acupuncturist in Portland, Oregon, and she was relating an experience that she had with one of her clients. And oh, by the way, did I say she's also a Gia Wellness consultant? She was having an experience with one of her clients with the smart meter defender. And I thought the story was so interesting that we would come on today and maybe talk a little bit about it. Hey, Lesley, how are you today?
Doing great, John. Thanks.
Yeah, I really appreciate you for doing this video with me. It's going to help a lot of people, I think, really understand the power of the smart meter defender. But I do have a question for you, just right off the bat. Is how the heck did you find out about Gia Wellness?
Oh, gosh. I found out about Gia Wellness. I had broken my arm, and I was in a grocery store. And the man who would become my upline came across me, and our conversation came around to me seeing him to help with my hand. Went to see him. He offered me some water, and I kept giving him back the cup. Please, more water, more water. And I learned in a short time, with a couple of exposures, I learned about the smart, not smart. I learned about the Gia Cell Guard, and I wanted one of those for me and for my son. And then I really wanted the water because I felt so good. In fact, I'll confess that I almost wanted to see him more for the water he was going to give me at the appointment than to see him. But that's just between you and me and everybody who sees this. So there. So it was all up from there.
I know you're talking about Donald Tumum, so he's probably going to see this, so I don't think it'll be a secret any longer. Well, you know, I know that Donald's passionate about the smart meter defender also, and you guys had an experience, I think it was last week, with someone. Can you just describe what that was all about and what happened that was so profound?
Well, we went to see someone we both know who's very sensitive. She does her own energy work. She has a room in her home that where she has 2 chairs, and it feels lovely in there. It's filled with plants and crystals, and I always feel welcome in that room. But she had called me and asked me, I think I need something for my computer. And when we arrived there, we essentially started with that request. What are you wanting to take care of? And we went and looked, and literally her modem was sitting right behind her keyboard. So it was aimed right at her. She was sitting 3 feet from the router. And that room was just felt very uncomfortable. So we acknowledged that, and we kind of felt the other pieces of the house going, you know, no, okay, so then we turned around and we said, well, let's start with the smart meter. Well, you might know Donald's story is he loves to test. You know, let's try it this way. Let's try it this way. So the great beauty of it was there were 2 of us there. So I could stand with our client, and he could run outside and put the defender on, and we could experience a change if we were going to experience one. And I think the most profound moment was he went outside, put the defender on, and she looked at me and she went, wow. She said, I feel so grounded. Oh my. And I thought, well, okay, you know, I feel it. So we made our way through the house. Donald loves to do muscle response testing. And we proceeded to just simply test other places in the house. But what we discovered is that the defender was the key piece. It seemed to wrap the house in a field. It was as though all the wiring quieted down. And it was such that she could actually put her hand near the wall and feel about so many inches from the wall, the same place Donald and I could feel it. She said, I can feel it. I can feel the difference. It's subtle, but I can feel it. So I know this sounds a little bit, you know, like we're, you know, physical meters, but I do believe that there are qualities in the human that are the sensitive. Certainly, the experience we had that day told me that that the defender really is key to this understanding of getting that, what we call the dirty electricity, but also that whole field that it seems to generate around a home, literally in the wiring that's connected to it. So the magic was we continued to put, we used universal guards on the router. We used on various items, we tried them out, and the house kept going calmer and calmer. We also used a home harmonizer, and that dialed down everything. But the funniest things we learned included, we had her holding the mesh screen that comes with the Defender, and she was holding it, and she didn't want to give it back. She wanted to hold it. She says it felt good, and she's wearing a pendant. But it just points to how our Terra Gia products stack. You know, that each piece, as you add each piece, there's a new level of well-being that emerges. And at the end of it, she looked at me, and this is probably the part that's the best part about working with Gia products, is these moments. And what she did is she looked at me, and there were tears, happy tears in the corners of her eyes. And she said, "My house is so peaceful now." And there was this heartfelt gratitude, peace. I can't express it in any better way other than say that there were tears of appreciation. But they came out of this place of, we both felt so grounded in that moment, in that home. She said, "You've given my home peacefulness. It feels like my home." And
yeah,
that, I mean, it was one of the most profound moments I think I've experienced, because I've done these things, staged these things, you know, first a cell guard, then a home harmonizer. This was dramatic in that they happened 1, 2, 3. We were stacking and layering them. And that was, I think, where it really showed to me the power, extraordinary power in that Defender. It's got stuff going on in there that's borders on pure magic.
Well, it was so cool that Donald went outside and put the meter on, or the smart meter on, while you were inside.
Yes.
And you were there when it happened. So that makes a huge difference when that happens. You know, and you also said calming it down, and sometimes I think of it as, you know, when I try to explain it, it's like a noise you can't really hear, but your body hears. And that's what you're surrounded by. And when you say calm it down, it just quiets the noise. And that creates a calmness. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Sometimes people ask me that same question, and I will give the analogy of, suppose you had a smoke alarm beeping, and you couldn't reach it, and you kept throwing your shoe at it, and you still couldn't get it to shut down. Our body is doing that. It's responding to the rhythm. And I think that that's the key here, is there's a rhythmic thing with these waves, and it's rhythmic, and our body armors up against the smoke alarm sound. And the technology takes that smoke alarm going off out of our acoustic and physical and out of us. Mm-hmm. It's just like turning that darn smoke alarm off.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, because everybody's faced with that from time to time. Well, Lesley, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you for sharing the story with us today. And I think it's, you know, getting that kind of feedback from people, it just drives you forward, doesn't it? It just makes you more passionate to go out and tell the world, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's such a powerful testimonial. People who have this experience right in front of your eyes. It's just, there's nothing better.
Well, thanks for joining me today. I'll be posting this on our testimonial page, and I definitely appreciate you for spending this time with me. Thanks very much.
Thanks, John.